Well, we are still talking about the trade war, the tariffs, and but now let's see what this means to Nigeria's foreign direct investment at this time. We saw the bond market crash at the beginning of all of this because obviously uncertainty on the one hand and just the sentiment that there might be need to go to the Western world, the U.S. top on the list, instead of the developing countries when it comes to government investment and securities. But let's look at the bigger picture around this now, talking about foreign direct investments amidst the trade war. We're doing that with the Chief Executive Officer of Aspira Global Corporation, Mr. Glenn Prince Abbey. Mr. Abbey joins us, Dr. Abbey joins us from our Abuja studio. Dr. Abbey, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. I'm happy to have me.
Great. So we're just talking about what it means, what all of this would do to consumers, looking at the domestic front. But when we broaden that picture and look at the need to attract foreign direct investments amidst all of this trade war, tariffs and counter tariffs, what does it look like? What does the picture look like?
Well, the picture is very clear that there is a seismic change in global markets based on the tariffs that are being imposed by the United States and how reactions will occur across the world. It means that fundamental changes are occurring in global economy, particularly concerning trade. Now, this is the time for African countries such as Nigeria to actually brace up, even though we've heard that Donald Trump is giving a 90-day, suspension of the tariffs. It doesn't really make any difference. The important thing is for Nigeria to see this as a threat, but at the same time, it's an opportunity. I want to propose that at this point, the president should set up what I call an economic war room. We should see this as an economic survival challenge. So now, how does Nigeria attract foreign investment to escalate the possibilities that are there within the Nigerian economy in terms of our resources, in terms of our human capacity, and so many other areas? This is what I want to look at. Now, if the president sets up an economic war room, we'll be looking at the possibilities of strengthening our setting up what I call strategic economic diplomacy. Now, if you look at how Nigeria's high commissions and embassies have functioned, it has been the usual routine activities in terms of relationships with the host country and all that, and so on. But the aspect of economy, the aspect of growth of the economy, of the Nigerian economy in terms of attracting foreign investment and all that, is not given that level of emphasis. I want to propose that through the economic war room that the president should set up, we'll start to look at setting up major departments within our embassies and high commissions across the world, in practically all countries where Nigeria engages, to ensure that in each country we'll look at the possibilities of investments that can come into Nigeria, whether it's even foreign direct investment or portfolio investment, because the threat posed by the tariff should make us realize there's no more business as usual. Now, it's even a very good time because at this point, the president is appointing new ambassadors and high commissioners and all that. Now, this should form part of their orientation. It should form part of the metrics, the mandate that they are given, that look, as you're going, just know that each high commission is expected to make fundamental deliverables concerning the economic growth of Nigeria. So whatever country you're in, what advantages can you draw into Nigeria vis-a-vis foreign direct investment, in addition to trade relationships, taking advantage of what is possible in being produced in Nigeria and how that can be traded across to those countries. In that way, Nigeria, as Africa's largest economy and Africa's largest population, would have been able to create a situation where the tariff threat becomes a major opportunity for growth. I see I usually, when I carry out my management training, I talk about 10x change, or 7x change, or 12x change. So I see a situation where Nigeria can actually, putting this kind of strategy in place, achieve a 10 times economic growth from this threat if we put our acts together. That reminds me of something that was written by Andy Grove, the founder of Intel, years ago. I think that was in the early 90s or so. He wrote a book. He called it Only the Paranoid Survive. Now, in that book, he wrote something about what he called strategic inflection point. Now, what does strategic inflection point mean? The tariff challenge and the global trade war that will occur will affect mostly developing countries like Nigeria, especially Nigeria that depends completely on its oil exports and all that. Now, that challenge creates opportunity for growth, because under the strategic inflection point that we're talking about, it means that when policy changes, market forces change, and when customers' preferences change for companies and all that, it means there's a major threat. A company can even actually get out of business. But then another opportunity is that a company can go backwards and rethink its strategy and thereby deploy new measures, new strategies. And what should have been a threat to kill the company now becomes an opportunity for the company to experience a massive growth that it has never experienced before.
All right,
this is what I want to bring. This is what I want to bring to the macrocosmic level for Nigeria's economy.
Yeah, Dr. Abi, I'm so sorry. I know you're in a flow there, but I know you followed the story when the news came out that Nigeria has banned export to the U.S., and then, we saw, of course, reactions to that. And then some questions came on that, is Nigeria strong enough to be able to start that kind of a battle with a country like the United States? So it comes back to, yes, we have the potentials. Have we developed our potentials enough, our resources, our trade routes? We're just talking about the ports, for us to even use for intra-African trade. So if we want to take this stance and maximize these opportunities, can we say that we are developed our system, our trade system, our resources enough to be able to stand that?
All right, thank you very much. Actually, this question of yours, is actually addressing what I had recommended from my opening phrases when I said that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, needs to set up what I call an economic war room. When the war room is set in any situation, it means that you're looking at everything in a state of emergency, in a state of urgency. You have the war to win, and you want to look at everything differently. Now, it is a big threat to Nigeria. So what Nigeria needs to do is to accelerate, put measures in place that can accelerate our growth, put measures in place that can optimize the opportunities we have in terms of putting in the global marketplace products and services that can set us apart. There's what is called competitiveness of nations, competitive advantage of nations. Now, in the economic war room, for instance, it will now be examined what products can we actually say these are Nigeria's competitive products in the global marketplace, apart from oil. Where can it be best developed? What can we do with it? Which countries can we send these products to other than the United States, which is a major? And sometimes it's said that America is actually the largest consumer market. Now, America is actually not the largest consumer market. The largest consumer market is China. Now, how can we take advantage of opportunities there? How can we take advantage of the opportunities within the Africa continental framework that we have? How can we take advantage of markets in other parts of Asia? How can we take advantage of markets in the Middle East and all that? Then, what structures do we have in place to enable us drive this process of accelerating our business production capabilities, our resource exploitation capabilities, and place in the global marketplace our offerings as a country? Nigeria is Africa's largest population. We also are Africa's largest economy, So it means that we must have a number of products in the global marketplace that everybody will say, these are Nigeria's competitive products. And these are what the economic war room should be considering, and it is urgent, because this is what we now need to start to do. That's what I'm proposing.
All right, Nigeria's competitive products, I mean, we don't need to ask so much. We know it's agriculture and all of that, but I mean, maybe, this idea of a war room would make a difference, because we deal in Nigeria with the threat of food insecurity, and there was a state of emergency on food insecurity, but it didn't seem like we have seen much. So I guess what we need is beyond these declarations, and perhaps just intentional implementation of policies and plans that have already been articulated.
Okay. When you see, there's a lot of statements are made, the state of emergency of this, state of emergency. I mean an economic war room. It means that there's a situation room set up to look at the current challenge and the opportunities that can be extracted from this challenge. By setting up such a war room, it means that it is peopled by entities, personalities that are not necessarily the existing governmental operatives. Entities that can now look at it, and I said there's a situation room looking at all aspects of what we can do and make a difference in based on what we're doing so far. Okay, so that is what I'm talking about. It's not the usual declaration, state of emergency on agriculture, state of emergency. No. It has always been just mere rhetoric. But when we put on a situation room on a steady basis, they are discussing, they are analyzing all aspects and coming up with what needs to be done, coming up with what needs to be done urgently, what needs to be prepared, and all that. Again, I said, you mentioned something about FDI, and I said very well that currently the president is appointing ambassadors, new ambassadors and high commissioners and all that. We don't have an economic diplomatic framework. We don't have a strategy for economic diplomacy. Now, part of what is going to be given to the ambassadors across all countries that we engage, it means that they now have a mandate for strategic economic diplomacy, so that we can look at what we can do with that country, what that country can bring to us by way of foreign direct investment, and what structures. Now, in country, we look at what structures are in place, enabled, optimized to accommodate the kind of business transactions we want to have with each country. Now, by way of making this execution possible, it means that maybe on a quarterly basis, the president will still have sessions with our embassies and see how each particular ambassador, high commissioner, or whoever, what difference they have made, what strategies they have in place, how the results they have got, and all that. With that, it means that we are now doing things completely differently from what we have been doing all along.
All right, thank you so much. We will push this message and see how far it goes. Dr. Glenn Prince Abbey, the Chief Executive Officer of Aspiria Global Corporation, asking for Nigeria to set up an economic war room at this time. Thank you so much for your views.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.